Hey guys, Q here, and this is a guide for Final Fantasy VII Remake, how to defeat Specimen H0512 on hard mode. I tried a couple different strategies for this guy, taking out his left claw and all that kind of stuff, and I actually came across a cheese that just makes it a lot easier. You're going to want to have melee builds on all your characters, so Cloud, obviously the hard edge. You're also going to want to have star pendants on all your characters. He can cast stop, so you don't want to let that happen. Barrett's going to have Wrecking Ball for that melee damage, and Tifa's going to have her Metal Knuckles. Again, make sure everyone has that star pendant. For Cloud, you're going to give him a Magnify Materia and a Time Materia to occasionally cast Haste. Of course, the Steadfast Block and the Prayer Materia. Of course, you're going to give him 2 HP ups and 2 MP ups. It's not entirely necessary, but it does help to have those 2 MP ups. You're going to want to give him a luck up for a little extra damage, and of course a healing materia. Everyone's going to have a healing materia because they're all going to do that. For Barrett, you're going to want to have elemental and fire, and then of course steadfast block and prayer, 2 HP ups. Now you could do 2 MP ups or 1 MP up and a revive. I'd actually suggest making sure that Barrett or Tifa have a revive on them just in case, and then give Barrett the binding materia and the healing materia. Tifa is going to be exactly the same as Barrett. Again, I would suggest switching out one of those MP materias with a revival materia. And then you're also going to want to make sure either Barrett or Tifa have Ifrit, just in case you get a chance to summon. It actually does help. But when we go into the fight, it's going to be basically the same strategy for almost all 3 phases. They vary a little bit, but as soon as the battle starts here, there we go. You're going to run to this far stairwell and just hide in the corner. Now you're going to get into Punisher mode, and it's going to be the same strategy of counterattacking that we did with Roche, that we did with Reno, that we've done on a couple different bosses here. It will block the OPT's attacks and help take them out, but Barrett and Tifa life-wise really shouldn't get down too far. Now, if an OPT casts a blizzard on you, go ahead and dodge out of the way if you have the room. If not, it doesn't hit that hard. But effectively, you're just going to stand in this corner in Punisher mode and counterattack, blocking in Punisher mode. Now, feel free to use prayer, cure, whatever you need to. You don't want to use all your MP because you're probably going to want some for the rest of for the rest of the chapter. And that's about it for the first phase and the second phase. I'm just gonna let most of the first phase play out so you can see how it plays, but he's gonna try and stop everyone, and that's not gonna work because of that star pendant. You're just gonna stand in the corner and let your teammates do most of the damage. Just heal when you can. And you do want to, you don't need to cast haste on Cloud in this first phase. I would suggest waiting to cast haste during the second and third phase. Again, feel free to use magic. Don't use it all, but feel free to use magic. And then I'm going to speed it up here. And that's it. Now, the Specimen, each phase, he will increase his aggressiveness to Cloud. So first phase, he's not too aggressive, but he will increase aggressiveness on the character you're controlling. For the second phase, it's the exact same thing. Run to that same corner, get into punish mode, and block. Now at this point, the OPT enemies can start exploding on you, and if 3 or 4 of them decide to explode on you at the same time, it can do a lot of damage, potentially killing you, which is why I go back to making sure that someone has revival on. But it's really phase 3 that's the most dangerous. Phase 1 and 2, you just stand in this corner in Punisher mode, holding block, and just getting your damage in when you can. Now you see Cloud is slowed here. But you can start casting magnified haste to to get everyone so that they're getting those ATB charges up in time. Make sure they have plenty of curing. For the third phase, it's the same exact thing. Now, he's a little more dangerous in the third phase, particularly with those OPT enemies. You're going to see here in a second that 3 or 4 of them are just going to go crazy on Cloud. I think 4 of them explode back to back to back to back. So you do want to try and get some haste off and make sure you're ready to heal or arise when appropriate. But again, it is very much the same strategy. There we go. Yeah. 1, I think 2 there. 3, 4. And it was like, hey, cool. Now I got my summon gauge up. Get ready to summon Ifrit. But again, just don't try not to let anyone die. Go ahead and use cures. He's gonna throw all sorts of attacks at you, but as long as you're blocking and healing, you shouldn't have too much trouble, to be honest. The key is going to be when you need a break. This enemy is susceptible to sleep, which is why we have the binding material. So if you need a break, if things are getting hairy, put him to sleep and bide your time. Get your cures up, get your ATBs, get your haste on. Now obviously every time that you use sleep, he becomes more resistant to it. You see I'm going to use Ifrit here since I had him basically, but we're already in phase 3. You don't want to summon on phase 1 or 2. I don't even know if you can, but at this point don't be afraid to deal the damage, but just keep Cloud safe in that corner in Punisher mode, blocking and using magic when he has an opening. Hopefully you'll also get a limit break by blocking as many attacks as he does. You see I did here. Every time I tried this, he did have a limit break by the end of the fight. Again, you don't want to try and deal too much damage before he gets his limit break, and you'll see why in a little bit. But that's it. You're just going to stand in this corner casting haste and cure. And notice I did cast sleep on him to just get a bit of a respite. I want to get everyone's ATBs back up, get cure and haste and all that good stuff. I think Ifrit's going to wake him up here, actually. But what you're going to be looking for is in the third phase, this boss can heal himself. And that's what you want to stop with sleep. Again, don't use sleep too many times throughout the fight. Try not to use it, honestly. But if you need a break, cast sleep on him. Because sleep is going to be useful for when he tries to heal himself. Now, right now, I was deciding whether to try and use limit break. But I'm like, no, wait. I got to show you what it looks like when he heals himself. So we're not going to use limit break right now. There we go. So he's running. As soon as he runs over there, he's going to heal himself. And he's going to spawn more enemies. So as soon as you see him running over there, cast sleep with either Barret or Tifa and put him to sleep. And then now, Ifrit's timer ran out, unfortunately. So that's going to wake him up. You could have used that as a point to just take a break. But now we're just going to focus on damage. We stopped him from healing himself. Ifrit's using his Mega Flare attack. So I'm like, not Mega Flare. I always forget the name of that attack. It just was on screen too. But I'm going to use my limit break and stuff. So just stand in the corner, block in Punisher mode for most of the phases. Heal, haste, and if he goes to heal himself, sleep. Simple as that. Stand in the corner, block in Punisher mode for phase 1 and phase 2. Throughout the fight, and phase 3. Throughout the fight, heal when you need, magnified haste when you need, and if he goes to heal himself, put him to sleep, and then when you have the damage out, when you have the limit break and summon, go ahead and use it. Alright, hope that makes it easy for you. Until then, I'm the Strategic Gamer, and I hope it helps.